There is a unique sense of awe and perhaps intimidation that comes with walking into a modern American supermarket. The sheer scale is difficult to comprehend. Aisles stretch into the distance under a vast warehouse-like ceiling. The variety is overwhelming. 50 different types of breakfast cereal, a wall of refrigerated milk, produce from every corner of the globe. For visitors, and even for many Americans, it begs a simple question. Why? Why are American supermarkets so incredibly big? It's easy to dismiss it as just part of the culture. Everything's bigger in America. But the reality is far more complex and far more interesting. The size of these stores isn't an accident. It's the result of a perfectly interconnected system, a feedback loop of four powerful forces that shaped not just how Americans shop, but the country itself. To understand the modern supermarket, you have to understand the radical transformation of American land, the invention of a new kind of society, the creation of an invisible logistical network, and a specific economic philosophy that prizes efficiency above all else. And to understand that system, we have to go back to the end of the Second World War. In 1945, millions of soldiers returned home to a nation flush with victory and economic power. They wanted to start families and claim their piece of the American dream. At the time, that dream was a single-family home on a plot of land you could call your own. The problem was, there wasn't enough housing in the cities. The solution was found in the vast, cheap farmland surrounding urban centers. Fueled by government-backed loans from the GI Bill, developers began a construction boom of unprecedented scale. They didn't build up, they built out. This was the birth of the American suburb. This suburban explosion was codified by a uniquely American system, Euclidean zoning laws. Cities and towns drew lines on a map strictly separating areas where people could live from areas where businesses could operate. Unlike the mixed-use neighborhoods of older cities, where a shop might be below an apartment, the suburbs were rigidly divided. Commercial activity was relegated to specific, large parcels of land, often along major roads. And this land was cheap. For a developer looking to build a grocery store, buying a massive plot on the edge of town was exponentially cheaper than trying to find space in a dense urban core. The economics were simple. Why build a small, expensive, multi-story building in the city when you could build a sprawling, cheap, single-story warehouse in the suburbs? This single decision, repeated tens of thousands of times across the country, laid the literal foundation for the giant supermarket. It provided the cheap, expansive footprint required. But having the land wasn't enough. People needed a way to get there. The second force, working in perfect concert with the first, was the automobile. While cars existed before the war, the post-war economic boom put them within reach of the average family. By 1960, over 75% of American families owned a car. By 1990, it was nearly 90%. This changed the very rhythm of shopping. In a walkable city, shopping is a frequent, small-scale activity. You buy what you can carry for the next day or two. But in a car-dependent suburb, shopping became a weekly, sometimes bi-weekly event. The limiting factor was no longer what you could carry, but what your car's trunk could hold. The Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956 supercharged this trend, creating a 41,000-mile network of high-speed interstates that connected cities and their sprawling suburbs. This infrastructure made driving long distances trivial. A 10-mile drive to a supermarket wasn't an obstacle, it was normal. This new model of destination shopping had a profound effect on store design. Stores needed to be large enough to justify the drive. They needed massive parking lots to accommodate the cars. The car didn't just bring customers to the large store, it created the demand for the store to be large in the first place. So we have the land and we have the customers. But a 50,000 square foot store is just an empty box unless you can fill it efficiently and continuously. Before the suburban boom, grocery stores were mostly local affairs, supplied by a patchwork of regional vendors. To support the new megastores, an entirely new logistical system had to be invented. This was the era of the national grocery chain and the birth of the modern supply chain. Chains like Kroger and Safeway had the capital to build massive, centralized distribution centers, warehouses the size of several football fields. Instead of buying a few crates of oranges from a local vendor, they could now buy multiple truckloads directly from a grower in Florida. This hub-and-spoke model was revolutionary. Products from all over the country, and eventually the world, were shipped to these central hubs. Here, they were sorted and loaded onto semi-trucks, which would then deliver a full inventory to each supermarket in its region. The invention of the Universal Product Code, or barcode, in the 1970s made this system even more efficient, allowing for computerized inventory tracking on an unprecedented scale. This hyper-efficient national supply chain was the invisible engine that made the giant supermarket possible. It was the only way to keep tens of thousands of different products in stock, all at once. Which brings us to the final and perhaps most important piece of the puzzle. The first three forces built the physical and logistical framework, but the economics are what lock the system in place. The American supermarket operates on razor-thin profit margins, often around 1 to 3%. They don't make much money on any single item. Their profit comes from selling an enormous volume of items. To get you in the door, they use loss leaders, essential items like milk, eggs, or bread that are sold at or even below cost. The store loses money on the milk, but it bets that once you're inside, you'll also buy high-margin items like pre-made meals, greeting cards, or magazines. This model only works with immense scale. You need a huge store to stock enough high-margin products to offset the losses. You also need to offer a dazzling variety of choices. While a small store might offer 3 brands of pasta sauce, a supermarket offers 30. It convinces the customer that the long drive is worth it because this one-stop shop will have everything they could possibly want. And here, we see the system lock itself into a powerful feedback loop. Cheap suburban land allows for big stores and parking lots. The automobile allows customers to travel to them and buy in bulk. An efficient national supply chain keeps the massive stores stocked. And the economics of volume and choice make the entire model profitable. Each piece reinforces the others. The result is the American supermarket we know today. It's more than just a grocery store. It's often a pharmacy, a bank, a coffee shop, and a post office, all under one roof. An average location in 2025 can be over 40,000 square feet and stock over 40,000 different items, a scale unimaginable just a few generations ago. Born in the mid-20th century, the supermarket's dominance is now being challenged. E-commerce giants like Amazon are attacking its logistics by delivering directly to consumers. As cities favor density and walkability, the model of a giant store built for cars faces pressure. The American supermarket is a monument to a specific era of cheap land and auto-centric life. While its era isn't over, its foundations are finally shifting. If you found this look into the systems that shape our world interesting, consider subscribing for more documentaries. Thank you for watching.